we are going to start by just putting water in our saucepan. And I want you to fill it about halfway. And then go ahead and put water into a bigger pan for your noodles. Again, filling it about halfway. Go ahead and put them both on the stove so they can start boiling. Yes.
Is it 2 of these?
You can use 2 of those or 1 of those and 1 smaller one.
Okay.
So I'm just filling both my pans, like I said, about halfway. And I'm going to go ahead and put them on the burner so they can start heating up. Now, one thing when you go to boil water, your recipe calls for salt. If you put the salt in the water, it'll actually help it start boiling faster. So I'm going to go ahead and put some salt in both of my pans. I'm not measuring it out. I just kind of watch it fall to the bottom, and when I see enough at the bottom, I just stop. Your recipe does call for a teaspoon and a half. If you want to just use that exact, you can. The teaspoon will be the small one like this. Okay? So you'd put 1 whole and then a half. All right, and I'm wanting to put, yes.
What?
I'm sorry?
Piece of what?
Salt. Salt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just helps your water boil. That's all it does. Okay? It's just going to help your water get started boiling. All right, so now that we have both of our pans on the stove, we're going to get them started boiling. Now we're going to move to our vegetables. All right? All right, for my vegetables, I have a zucchini. I could not find a head of broccoli, so I just got a package of broccoli. That's fine. If you have frozen broccoli, that's fine. And then a head of cauliflower. All right? So, what we're going to do is I'm getting my cutting board. And the dog you hear barking his name is Cody, and he's wanting some chicken nuggets is all he's wanting. It's his lunchtime too. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wash off my broccoli, all right? So since mine's in a bag, I'm just gonna wash it off in the bag. If yours is fresh, you just wanna wash the head off. So if yours is fresh, just wash the head off. And then you're going to cut the stem completely off. All you want is the little bitty tops of the broccoli. My girls, when they were little, used to call it the tree. So the little bitty tops of the broccoli, that's all you want. So anything else, go ahead and cut it off. And you may want to make your broccoli pieces a little bit smaller than they are. That's fine. See, like this one's pretty big, so I'm going to just tear it apart. And I can do that without a knife. On broccoli and cauliflower, you can tear it apart with your fingers a lot of times. All right. right, I'm just tearing my broccoli, like I said, with my hands. I'm just tearing it apart. And if I get down to where it has a stem on it, I'm just cutting that stem off. So this one has a bit of a stem on it, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. Because like I say, you don't want that stem in your pasta. And you definitely don't want any of the leaves or anything that's on the bottom of the stem. Sometimes there'll be a leaf like this on the bottom. Make sure you definitely take that out. That's just from where the plant grew, and when they picked it, they happened to have a leaf in with it. Buddy, I'm not working with carrots today. Yeah.
With this, we have to do the thing with the broccoli.
Exactly. You're going to cut the stem off, and you're only going to use the top of it. So once you have your broccoli done, you are going to start your cauliflower, and I'll be starting that in just a minute and show you what you need to do with that. My cutting board has a little tray on it, so I'm putting all of my broccoli in that little tray for right now, so that when I get ready to do my cauliflower, I'll have room to do it on the cutting board. All right, getting the broccoli finished here. And again, I'm just breaking it into little small pieces. All right, now with the cauliflower, like the broccoli, you want to wash it really good before you cut it up, because if you don't, there might be something on it from the farms that they come from. So I'm going to take my whole head and just run it under water and wash it off really, really good. Now, many times on a head of cauliflower, you'll have the pieces that look like this. Looks like a part of a plant. It is. It's what the cauliflower grew on. You're not going to use that. So you're not going to use any of the green leaves. If you just take the cauliflower and pull it apart, you can pull it apart by the heads, just like this. And then go ahead and lay it on your cutting board, and then we'll cut the rest of it up. So just go ahead and pull it apart by the head. And you're going to get big chunks at first, but we will make them smaller. All right. I'm going to get rid of some of my trash. because I don't want it all over the place. And remember, if you clean as you go, you don't have a whole lot to clean up at the end. All right, so on my cauliflower, I'm doing the same thing I did with my broccoli. It's got a stem on it. I'm gonna cut that stem off and only use the head. Once you cut the stem off, you can easily peel it too. Just like you did the broccoli with your hand. And it just peels right apart. You're gonna make little pieces of it. Now remember, I talked about the other day that cooking is a science. And if you don't like something that we're putting in a recipe, you don't have to put it in, okay? If it's not essential to the recipe, you really don't have to. Like the cauliflower, the broccoli, the zucchini that we're getting ready to cut up. Those are not really essential parts. They're just like what we would call an optional part. If you want to put them in, you can. So if your family doesn't like it, don't put it in, okay? You don't want to make something that nobody's going to eat, because then you've not only wasted food, but you've wasted money. So make sure what you're putting in is what your family's going to eat. And then it's also like math. Remember, we look at it and see, okay, how much do we have? Do we think we have enough? Do we think we need more? How many people are we feeding? Are we feeding just 2 of us? Are we feeding 6 of us? See, like mine, I have to feed 6 people. Luckily, I teach this 2 times a day. So I make it twice a day. So it makes enough. So like yesterday, the pot pies, I had 2 of them. And we ate all but a half of one. So just depends on how many people you're feeding to how big you want to make stuff. So I'm still cutting my cauliflower down, making it small enough. And 2, you want to make it small so when it cooks, it doesn't take forever to cook. Because you definitely don't want something that's going to take hours to cook. Are we doing okay on cutting the cauliflower and the broccoli? I'm seeing some smiles. Is that a good thing? Or are we having food fights over there, Maria? All right, I got a couple more pieces here that I need to cut up. What I like about broccoli and cauliflower is that I can tear it with my hands and it just comes right apart. And I really don't have to use the knife all that much, which I like. Because honestly, even though I'm an adult, sometimes I don't like to use knives because they are sharp and they can really hurt you bad. So that is something I do like about cauliflower and broccoli when I'm working with it, because I can just peel it off with my hands. All right. Doing my last piece of cauliflower here, and then we'll do our zucchini. Alright. Now on your zucchini, let me throw the trash away from my cauliflower here. All the stems that I don't want. I go to cut the zucchini, I'm going to cut the part up here where the stem is. I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to cut the bottom off that where it grew from. I can't use those parts, so I'm going to cut those off and go ahead and throw them in the trash. Alright, so I've got both of them cut off. Now I'm going to just cut my zucchini in little bitty pieces. Now, this is about the size of a dime, okay? You can leave them this size if you want, or if you want to make them smaller because you don't want big chunks of zucchini in your pasta, which I know my family won't want big chunks, you can cut them into quarters or fours. So you just take one of the rounds and you cut it in fours. So I'm going to cut my slices and then I'm going to go back and quarter them all so that they're cut in fours. Kind of running out of room on my cutting board, but that's okay because we're going to put all these vegetables together in one pan here in a minute. But we need that pan to be boiling. So how are we doing on vegetables? Have we got them all cut? I've just got a little bit more of my zucchini to cut here. Let me see a thumbs up if you've got all your vegetables cut. Got two, waiting on one more.
Excuse me?
Yes.
The water is boiling. Don't we put the section zucchini?
Just a minute, we're gonna put the zucchini, the cauliflower, and the broccoli in that boiling water.
Okay.
All right. All right, so has everybody got everything cut? All right, so in your small pan, we're going to put the vegetables if it is boiling. If it's not boiling, you need to wait, okay? But if it's boiling, be very careful putting them in there because it could splash water out on you, and that water is very hot. That water is very hot. So be very careful when you're putting your vegetables in there because you don't want to splash it out. And I'm just going to add all of my vegetables. I'm just adding them slowly. Alright. I missed a few here, so I'm going to get those. Add some more. And you're going to add them all to that boiling water. Oops. Alright, once I have them all added to the boiling water, I'm just going to let it boil. I'm going to mix it around, make sure I've got everything in it. Make sure it's all going down into the water, because you definitely don't want any laying on top that's not getting in the water because you need it to boil. So once you get all the vegetables added in, stir it around, and then let it start boiling again. Okay? How are we doing? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? Thumbs sideways? Okay. All right, awesome. So we're gonna let that start boiling. Now your big pot, if it hasn't started boiling, give it a few minutes. It's gonna start, and that's where we're gonna put our noodles. I will tell you, so you can go ahead and get it ready, you're gonna need a colander. A colander looks like this, has holes in it so you can drain the water out. You're gonna need to use it twice, so make sure you have a colander.